Hello again everyone, hope you're doing well. Welcome to today's race at the wonderful Watkins Glen, a real tyre shredder as you're going to see in the course of this race. I'm still in my favourite, the BMW M8, even though really the Corvette is definitely the strongest car here. It's just able to manage its tyres so much better, but we're going to
Good luck,
persevere.
everyone.
I've been working on
Good
this
luck.
setup using the majors as a
Good luck,
baseline
everyone.
and then making some modifications myself. So I am running
Good
a
luck,
bit of a lower
everyone.
wing compared to some of the cars around me, which is a great benefit in a lot of this track, but as you'll see, it's going to make it more challenging in the latter half of the race. I'm coming to the end of the formation lap here, so I have the engine map on 12 just to save a little bit of fuel. I don't think I'm going to be able to make enough for an extra lap, but every little helps when it comes to this sort of start. Gearing up, I'm watching that red and blue Corvette just to our front right there, as he is the P1, so I want to make sure I'm going to get a good start following him.
Get ready, mate, it's hammer time.
And he's off, and we're able to get a good start there, keeping up
Go,
the
go,
cars in
go.
front. And you're going to see straight away what that lower wing gives us as we start catching up to this Porsche ahead already. I'm going to take careful, but you look in the rear view mirror, someone has already been taken out there. We'll have a look at that later on in the video, along with the rest of the incidents. Taking that inside line was nice and safe for us, and we managed to get a good exit, which put us ahead of that Porsche.
Car number 5.
So we're going to settle in here, but I've got to be very careful. Cold tyres and a very heavy BMW means that I've got a lot of potential here to just lose the car on this first lap. I'm going to take care of, as you see, I'm already going wide here just on these cold tyres.
Car right. Clear right.
And as long as I hold the inside here, there's no way he's going to make it round. You've got so many fast corners here at Watkins that going around the outside is nigh impossible unless you make a big mistake. Fortunately, going wide again there, it's just bedding in. This low downforce setup is really relying on me getting the tyres up to temperature as it focuses more on the mechanical grip. It is also very tricky but very rewarding around here at Watkins. The
car left.
Porsche there making a look
Still
down the
there.
inside.
Still there.
I know I'm going to be slow through this sector, so I'm not really going to fight it. Try and let him pass there.
Hold your clear left.
It just about makes it before cutting off our nose. I'm hopeful here that I can just make it past him in the latter half of the race, so all this is just settling in and bedding in the car. BMW's had a look behind, but he backs off, thinking the better of it. And we're going to just start working the car in now, as here at Watkins, it's all down to the tyre temperature on these cars. The wear is actually not that bad, but
the next car is Wallen, car number 8.
As you're going to see, it is the tyre temperature that is the real key here, as you'll find that in the initial couple of laps your car is going to be at the fastest once they're up to temperature, but very quickly they're going to start overheating, and it's about controlling that overheat, which I'm planning to do in this race. A lot better here now. The tyre pressures, as you can see on the dash, are starting to come up, and here at this stage I could feel the car starting to bite more, with the front really turning in a lot better than it did. So plan whilst I'm behind any sort of car to do as much fuel saving as possible to try and eke out that extra lap. You can see the average there of about a 2.55, and I know I can get it down below that. The last few corners at Watkins are very tricky but very rewarding to get right, especially coming out onto the straights here. It's a crucial part of your lap time. You have to really set yourself up right and then be on the power. Turn 1 again, another crucial corner. It's very difficult there to actually get the car turned in for that initial part, and you have to be careful going over that inside curve, as it can easily unsettle the car, as I found out in my testing. So just watch here how much time we're going to make up on this Porsche on this initial back straight. You have a lot of overspeed where if I was closer I could have made a move, but again, just settling in, letting the race come towards us here. So the second Porsche in front, a bit slippy and slidey there. Potentially running a lower wing than the one in front, who seems more stable. The Porsche was also a very good car pick for this. It is definitely the second strongest car in the GTE field, just behind the Corvette. You'll see in the top left, they are the ones in direct contention with the lead 3 Corvettes, but they are already starting to walk away, as you can see ahead. Just eking out those slightly better lap times as they're able to manage their tyres better than we can. And I know the Porsches as well also suffer badly at maintaining their tyre temperatures, so I'm hoping over the course of the race, with how I've got the BMW set up, with my preference to protecting the rear tyres, I should start being able to make up time and be more consistent.
Our refueling window will open after 15 minutes. It closes at about 34 minutes.
So I can not quite get turn 1 right there, so we're not gaining as much as we should be, but on this second half of the straight you can see just how fast we close up. I'll have a look down the inside, but I'm not really going for the move here, so I do back out. And I back out a bit too much there as I start losing a lot of time. It's more from me not having really practiced driving offline into that bus stop. It is very difficult to get it right over those curbs. I go very wide here, just missing my turning completely. Hopefully the BMW behind me doesn't try to capitalise on it. So all that work I've just done over those first few laps has been undone, and I've got to start making my way back up towards those 2 Porsches. These long corners here at Watkins is what really can cook the tyres over the course of a lap if you're on a push. And you'll see, not at the moment on the dash, but the left hand side tyres, the front left and front right, are the ones that really take a beating with so many right turns here.
142.70.
At the moment the tyres are still feeling good in the car, so I feel I can push comfortably. And I'm using these nice long straights to really make up my lap time. I'm trying to be brave as well through the bus stop. It is difficult because you've got to really send it in. Oh dear. The 2 Porsches have come together. We managed to make it the 2 positions there safely. I was cautious as I was worried that black Porsche might come across the track there, but they seem to be going off to the left.
Car ahead is Wood, car number 1.
And we'll have a look at exactly what happened there at the end. But now we've just got to extend our little lead here. We're up to P4, which is already very good for us. The only cars, the 3 Corvette leaders ahead, and as you can see on the relative on the bottom right, they are seconds ahead of us. So I'm not expecting to catch them. And looking at their last lap times, they're all in the 141s very comfortably there. Just about touching the 140s from the leader. As we're still here down in the 142s, I do have a nice 141 there. That was more whilst the tyres were still in their peak, and I probably had some tow.
1.4.
Yeah, as you can see there in the top left, they've got a 1.6 second difference per lap. So this fight as it unfolds is purely going to be defending from the cars behind us. I'm watching that BMW in the mirror. He is getting closer.
Focus on your exits.
He's definitely running a higher wing. He's not too far off our speed there. But around this long right, the car is just so well planted for me. And again, through this long left, as long as I can get the turn in, it's just so nice because you can get on the power nice and early. Yeah, I was definitely struggling the most, just getting the car to turn. And where I was losing a lot of the lap time, I was very strong for that first section, but in this last sector, I am definitely struggling, especially here. Trying to be so patient getting on the throttle, and then again through here, this long left where it just goes on forever. Getting through and then a little lift through here just to help keep the car settled. Braking as that tyre barrier on the left ends and trying to get turned in right just in time so I can get on the power.
You've just done a 142.05.
Getting better with the lap times now. I'm in some good clean air. Just into the low 142s, almost out of the 141s. So I do have the pace in me as long as I can stay consistent, but that is my weakness. I find it really hard sometimes just to drill out those laps in the same time order because I'm going to make little mistakes here and there. I've just got to keep working at it, as that's the only real way you can improve your consistency. A bit of a slide there which delays me getting on the power. Again going deep here, completely missing the apex, which also means I'm late again on the power. It's bringing car number 6, Martinez, back into contention with us. Looks like for now it's just a 2-horse race between us as those Porsches are still a bit behind. But car number 7, the one that got hit earlier, is definitely doing well to keep up with the cars ahead of him. Hopefully he didn't suffer too much damage. Again, I'm being a bit too cautious getting on the power there, which is slowing down my overall time.
Entering tow. Sector 2 is 0.7 off the pace.
And here, I go a bit too wide now. I was trying to avoid the off-track, which is why I really compromised my exit.
What about track limits?
Marquez is going to really close up here with the draft, which is strong in these cars. I'm going to go defensive because I feel I can be faster over the course of the lap.
Pit man, just go for that, I'll back out.
That wasn't related to us. He doesn't make the move, but almost looks like he clobbered that inside barrier there. Very easy to do, as you have to really send it over that first curve to set up the bus stop. We've made it through. Again, just going wide here, you can see the tyre pressures on the left hand side are now up to 1.7, so they are definitely going to be a lot hotter than on the right. And what that's doing is it's making the initial turning of the car much more difficult. Thankfully with these cars, that mid-corner sort of grip is always going to be there, but it's just getting that initial turning is so key, because that then allows you to get the power down. See, I'm struggling again here, which is what's giving Martinez that lap time over us. very close to the wall. Really having to have a confidence lift just to make sure I'm not going to hit it.
P4.
One hit of that wall on the outside and you can easily get steering damage, which will be the end of the race. But we're holding on for now.
Hold your nerve. Make them do the work.
Yeah, as Jim is trying to egg me on. My main goal is just to try and manage the tyre temperatures by braking that little bit early. I'm going to go defensive again here. I wasn't expecting this, but Martinez just gives us a little love tap. He's going to try and egg us on. Thankfully he's seeing the fact that this is more of a race, but I'm not sure if I can trust him.
Manuel, push.
There you go, that's him there calling for me to start pushing. But again, I don't really trust the guy, but I will see what he does of this next
You've got
lap.
half your fuel left.
If he wants to work together and try and pull away from the Porsches behind.
Right side.
But there we
Still
go,
there.
I'm wide again, just not getting that turn in.
Still there. Clear right. On your right.
I do want to stay ahead, so I'm
He's
going to
still
try and
there.
work the outside here because it's going to turn to the
Still
inside.
there.
It's a very long corner where you really just
Still
can't
there.
go around the
Clear
outside.
right.
And he backs off. So now I've really just got to sort out my inconsistency and get a good lap in, just to put us a safe distance away from Martinez. And watching here, make sure if you're racing ever here at Watkins, try and use as much of the track on the left there. I've got a whole other bit of tyre where I could be putting it down just before the grass. You need to open up that first turn as much as possible. See, Martinez is coming back at us. I'm not going to defend this time, I'm going to see what he does. But he is looking down the inside.
Car right side's clear.
But I give him the gap just to be safe. And that just compromises that entire section there. You can see
Stick to the
car
plan.
number
Don't be
7 is
intimidated
caught
here.
up to us now.
He's quicker than you into tow.
Stefan's done really well after that incident earlier to keep his car going. And it definitely looks like he's got some pace in him. As this fighting between me and Martinez is really slowing us down. Now the best I can hope for here is that if I can't pull away from Martinez, that I can at least lower him back into the crutches of car number 7. That way they're going to start fighting, which will slow them down. No, I was watching in the mirror then, as he's having a look and see he really wants to get past me here. But thankfully, due to the fact I may be slower through these corners with my car setup, I am rapid down the straight,
Pit window is open.
which is really what's keeping me going here.
That lap was at 142.78.
We're starting to get a better exit out of there. I know he's still in the slipstream, so he might still gain some time on us on this section. Looking at the relative in the bottom right, that's staying at 4/10 there, so even with the slipstream he's not able to catch up to us. After all this, we're only 11 laps in on what looks like it's going to be a 27 lap race. There's the joy of these longer these longer sessions. This is 45 minutes in the GTE series, so but when you're actually racing it, the time flies by so fast once you're concentrating. see a lot of cars there are using that grass, as you saw by those tyre marks, but at least in my setup I found if I was doing that, the back end would just step out every time, so I've really got to keep it to the tarmac. And it is helping me now that the car's starting to get lighter. You can see we're down to just over 15 litres in the car. Our fuel usage has crept up
10 minutes of fuel remaining.
as we've been defending.
Just ignore him, he'll go away.
So at this point I just opt to stay full pelt with no fuel saving. I know that the cars behind me aren't really fuel saving either, so at this point it's just more about maintaining the gap and pulling away if I can. A little bit of a slide there, but it's quite easy to correct. I'm starting to get a lot better going through that section here. Is Martinez behind us saying he's going to be pitting in. It is a very dangerous pit entry here at Watkins Glen, as you basically are going to be on the racing line where a lot of people are going to be full throttle at that stage. Looks like he's going to try for the undercut. See him peeling away there. Unfortunately for him though, as we're going to see afterwards, he comes a cropper on that pit entry.
Sector 1 time's okay. Sector 2 is 0.8.
And that's going to put him out of the contention for the P4.
0.46 off the pace.
I didn't know that at the time though, so I was probably expecting to see him when I came out the pits later on. But as it were, we just settled in here and started putting in the laps, so we're going to skip ahead. And now we're on lap 16, just a few laps later, coming into the pits. Going to be very careful here. Like I say, it's a very dangerous pit entry, but we've got a good gap to the car behind.
Box in.
And I get stopped for plenty of time there.
Okay, we'll fill you to
I was
the
a
end.
bit cautious, as the last time I did this race I'd actually got a black flag for speeding in the pits because of that entry. So we lost a bit of time to the Porsche behind us, but it's worth it in the end.
4, 3, 2, 1.
And see just how long the pit lane here is at Watkins.
Front
So the
left,
lead Corvettes ahead of us there was just
rear
leaving
left,
the pits.
87.
A few cars have stayed out for an extra lap, so we're going to see how we come about with them when they eventually come to the pits.
All clear on pit exit.
I didn't really do much fuel saving once I got into the clean air. I was still trying to push just to stay ahead of the Porsche behind me.
The guy ahead is Jans, car number 9.
And you'll see we've come out a good gap ahead of the car number 8, the Porsche that followed us in. The other benefit of coming into the pits is it does give the tyres a little bit of time to cool down, as on a lot of my laps they were constantly going between being overheated and just trying to manage them, because that's such a key thing here.
Behind is increasing, it's now 2.0. The leader, Wood, is pitting.
Very crucial making sure that you maintain the rear tyres on this, as Watkins has a lot of the long corners, but like that last one, you've got to be able to put the power down safely, as it's very key to get on the power early.
Francisco, car number 2, is now leading.
Swapping around ahead now as people are coming in and out of the pits.
Jans, ahead is pitting.
At this point I was surprised when I looked down at my relative and saw Martinez, who had tried to get the undercut on us so far back, so at this point I realised something must have happened to him. So we're
Car in
back up
front
to
is Wood, car
P4
number
now.
1.
Now that we passed all the cars that was out.
15 minutes left, that's 15 minutes.
So I was quite pleased that I was able to get the BMW up to such a pace that whilst it's not on with the Corvettes or some of the better Porsches, I figured this car would struggle around here, so I was very pleased. I'll admit though that the setup I had originally from Majors was not really the best. There was a lot of understeer, even for a 4-wing that it started as. So I made some little adjustments from what I'd learned from both some guides and people that I've talked to that do LMP3
The gap to Waller
custom
behind is now
sets.
1.6.
And I managed to get what is a free wing to be very well behaved around here at Watkins. And I'm not really cooking the rear tyres either, so that's the big benefit for me in this. So I like to get a car that can be quite pointy and then I have to manage it throughout the corner. Like I say, it's very key in these cars to make sure that you get the nose turned in and then the rest of the corner will just come to you naturally. Into the end of lap 18 onto 19 now, and we've got a good gap to the car behind of 1.6 seconds. We're on roughly the same lap times. Thomas is not really catching up to us, but we're not really pulling away from him. But over what is left of this race, I'm quite happy to just maintain that for now, as I'm very comfortable with my rhythm here. Especially with just how fast this was down the straight here at Watkins. I didn't feel too much slower through the bus stop than a lot of the other cars. I think that was mostly just down to me being so cautious. I do keep making mistakes like this. I just keep going wide through there, not quite getting the front to turn in, so I just rely on the fact I can carry the speed. Again here, a bit wide on the entry, which then means I'm slow getting the power down. Which does let Thomas make some time up on us there. Thomas is keeping up with us. He's definitely not letting me walk away on this one easy. He's still 4/10 behind us on the last lap count, so we'll see where we get on this one. I managed to claw a 10th back, but he's still 3/10 faster than us.
The gap to Waller behind is now 1.2 seconds.
So I still have to be on my best behaviour here. If I make one mistake, then that will definitely give him the position. At the same time, I've got to keep on pushing, especially here through the boot. Get a nice run that time, could have maybe carried a bit more speed. He's still hanging with us. You can feel just over the course of these long 45-minute races that you have to really settle into a good rhythm to be consistent on these kind of laps. And there's still only 20 out of 27 possible laps here. Well, that's part of the challenge here. Just being able to maintain this kind of pace over a longer period. And I've only done 2 endurance races. I can certainly feel that from doing the raw before the 2.4.
Sector 1 is quick, Sector 2 is 0.6 off the pace, Sector 3 is 2/10 off the pace. 10 minutes to go, that's 10 minutes left. Focus on the exits, we can go faster here.
Which is a fantastic little race, 2.4 hour endurance around Daytona, done before the 24-hour event. I did that last year in the LMP3 class, and I think I came about
The gap
P7.
behind is now 0.9.
It's actually a shame there's no real series that run the GTEs in endurance format anymore, as these are fantastic cars to drive. Still a lot better than the GT3s in my opinion. Running a GT3 with little downforce is never a fun thing, I found. Thomas has made some more time up on this lap, he's back to within a second. He's ever present there in the mirror. I wasn't. I was trying at this stage not to watch the mirror, but very hard to miss that Porsche hanging in the back. Got a good gap to the rest of the car, so this is just between me and Thomas now. The Porsche was definitely a quicker car around here, but I'm not quite sure in this instance if Thomas's tyres were just so overheated that he was struggling to put his time together. Took a bit more curve on the inside at turn 1 there just to see, but I can't honestly tell if it was much better, but I know some cars will just lose it completely if they take that much curve normally. Brave that time, trying to carry more speed. It's just worked for me. Still enjoyed that long ride so much. Just timing when you can get the power on. The car just carried through.
The gap behind is now 1.5. Got 10 minutes of fuel remaining.
I've done better that lap. I managed to pull the lead over Thomas up to 1.5 seconds, and you'll see my time is actually starting to now come into line with what the lead Corvettes are doing. They're way up the road from us, but it seems at this point of the race their tyres are finally starting to run into the same issues that ours are. Because their times are certainly shot up. They were easily doing low 141s towards the start of this race and even through the mid part. So it's amazing just how good those cars are over the course of a stint. Looking on the relative on the bottom right, they are quite spaced out with at least 2 seconds from Wood to car number 3 ahead of him. So it doesn't look like they're going to have any sort of fight between them before the end of the race. And behind us, Thomas has had some sort of issue now. As you can see, he's dropped back to over 2 seconds. And really, that is where it stayed for the course of this one. At that point, I just had to carry on with this consistency. I was at least staying in the high 141s. And as we come on to the final lap here, that's exactly how it stayed, where I managed to pull a bit more of a gap to Thomas behind us.
2 litres remaining.
and I was able to bring it back into P4, which was a fantastic result for me. I was really happy I was able to stay consistent with no mistakes during that race.
P4. Okay, it's over. Good drive.
Just about got the fuel right there. You can see I'm finishing with just under a lap left. So back to the first lap here, and oh dear, this is what happened in our rearview mirror. That BMW ahead missed his braking point. Now we're skipping ahead to what happened in front of us out of the bus stop. And yeah, that is what happens when you get those curves wrong through there. And now this is what happened to Martinez. I didn't see during the race. You can see here he's trying to enter the pits, but he locks up and loses the rear of the car. And this is a very, very unfortunate place to Austin Powers yourself. He did get very lucky here that no other cars were trying to enter the pits. I mean, ideally he should have towed, but his perseverance at least paid off for him in the end. And this is one that I also missed behind us through the bus stops again. If you get the curbs wrong through there, it's so easy to lose the back end. And this is an incident that happened completely off camera. A little send from the inside by that Porsche, and he just did not leave the space for the BMW on the outside. And that's it. So thank you very much for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you are interested in more, have a look at some of my GTE videos on the channel, or some of the LMP3 ones if they tickle your fancy. See you next time.